Hey everybody, it's Sherpa Rage. I'm doing today another build breakdown, and today we're going to be looking at Ivara. So Ivara is kind of the Huntress Warframe. She has a lot of bow-based abilities. As you can see here, she has Quiver, Navigator, Prowl, and Artemis Bow. So Quiver actually lets you toggle between four different types of arrows. You have a cloak arrow, which you shoot it at the ground or wherever, and it creates a little cloak bubble that lasts however long your duration goes. So it's really great for kind of shooting that and like a downed enemy or something like that. To go to revive them, or just kind of in general holding a point. In like a defense type mission, something like that. Especially on like Draco, it's really great for like popping it on the point and just kind of sitting in there, kind of hiding away from the enemy so much so they don't notice you. Sometimes they won't be aggroed to the point. You can kind of cap it in secret, so to speak. The dash wire is really great. It makes basically a zip line from at the basically that starts from the feet, like right at the ground at your feet, and then to wherever you point. So if you look up, as long as it's a straight line and there's like no interference or anything like that, basically it'll just create a zip line, and then you can walk along that. Pretty much like a typical zip line, and it's really fun. Not quite sure the max number that you can have up, but you can have quite a few up. And honestly, I usually put like two or three, maybe sometimes four on like the larger maps up, and it's just so great for getting around, especially if you're a sniper or you have someone who snipes in your group. It's fan-frickin-tastic. I really like that. It's a cool thing for sure. Third one is noise arrow. The noise arrow, basically you fire it and it creates like a pulsing noise and it draws enemies into it. So it's supposed to be kind of like an aggro thing where you can kind of divert their attention or stuff. It's probably really good for spy missions, which I typically don't run as much. But I don't seem to use that one as much in combat unless it's like really panicky and there's a lot of enemies I maybe try to get. But typically I'll use the last arrow, which is the sleep arrow. Basically you fire that into like a crowd of enemies and it kind of just puts them into an narcoleptic stage where they just instantly fall asleep and stand there, which is really great for just kind of crowd controlling and everything. So you do basically you tap it and it'll cycle. You tap your one, it'll cycle, and then you hold the one to actually fire it. And it has a little bar, which I'll show you in the gameplay section, how it charges up and basically fires it. It's not too long, although I could see some people having an issue with it, but I do like it since it does have four different types of arrowheads. It's kind of like the Green Arrow, kind of from the comics, if you will, how he has all the different arrows, sort of like that. So he just grabs a different arrow that he equips, kind of. So same with Ivara and how she does her kind of kit. So then you have Navigator, which basically this actually lets you guard the projectile. So you can use it in tandem with your one and control the arrow, which is really fun to kind of fly around. And you can zoom around corners and everything. You left click to speed it up, right click to slow it down, and then you actually can steer it. It's really, really a lot of fun. Not necessarily all the time practical. However, you can. I've used it on Draco, like in the middle of fights and stuff, to set up a zip line and making sure I aim it where I want it to go exactly. So you can do it like that. It's good for like the sleep arrow if you want to, kind of steer it in more to the heart of where the enemies are, like a bunch of them. So kind of that's another thing. But it does work with actual primary bows. So if you have something like the Ceranos or the Paris or an actual bow, you can control your arrow with that. So all you do is hit the two, fire the shot. It'll let you control the arrow, and it's really, really nice, honestly. So you can see basically that lets you take control of the arrow. Another kind of arrow-based ability. Prowl, basically you turn invisible and you kind of stealthily sneak around. You do move slower in this, which is one of the things I don't personally like about it. I wish you could move it kind of like normal speed. But you basically sneak around and you kind of pit pocket. As you get close, you'll steal enemies and kind of like that. And then you can take them out with headshots and everything. So it is kind of nice. But of course, like as soon as you start running or attacking or anything, it drops that instantly. So Prowl I usually don't use as much in terms of just like infighting in general, but it's not a bad ability to have for sure, because you can also use it to just kind of escape if you don't have time to pop up your duration bubble and or your duration maybe not that long in per se or something like that. Then you can just jump into Prowl. which that one is, I believe, just drains your energy on that. I'm pretty sure. And then you have her Artemis bow, which basically you take out your bow and you shoot 5 arrows simultaneously. So depending on how large you charge it, it basically rotates the way you shoot. So if you shoot it, if you just quick fire it, it's going to be 5 arrows in just like a straight vertical line. However, the longer you hold it, the more horizontal it becomes. So it basically tilts from vertical to horizontal. So full charge will fire 5 arrows out in a horizontal line, while dry firing is going to be just 5 in a vertical. And then, of course, depending on how much you charge, it basically kind of rotates downwards. I think it's to the left, if I believe. So it rotates downward left vertically to a horizontal line, and you can fire in between that, so you can kind of get like a sort of like a 45-degree angle shot, like a cross beam there, which is pretty darn nice. So I'll jump in here and show you guys the build breakdown on her. She does have a forma on her, which I just did very recently, actually prior to this video, because I hadn't played with Ivara actually since I got her. I pretty much just ranked her up at the time, hadn't played too much with her, so wanted to get a little bit back kind of on base with that. So of course, am running Energy Siphon. I'd like to point out that her hat gets in the way of the stats here, which is kind of annoying. So, yeah, that can be a little bit frustrating there. But I love the Loxley hat. So we've got Energy Siphon, of course, for that energy, and then for her, I went kind of a standardized build. I wanted the numbers to be all positive on her because she's not a super, I don't know. She doesn't stand out as much to me. She's an okay frame, and I feel like even saying that she's an okay frame is almost too generous, because I know there's people that like her and can play her probably fairly well. I personally, her kit's a little bit too stagnant and a little bit too stuck just on solely having like arrow projectiles and everything, which is not a bad thing. I like to see that they at least thought about that, but her kit's not, I don't know, it's not really feels like it's that robust, because she doesn't offer a lot of CC. She doesn't, I mean, her sleep arrows are all right and everything, but she doesn't have like, she's not super high damage, she's not super high CC, she's not super high health or stats or anything. I mean, armor 65, health 555, power 700. Her power is really good, so I will give her that. She is kind of that castery, but her casting of kind of subpar abilities is, I mean, a little off-putting, I guess, for me. Shield 750, sprint speed 115. I guess that's kind of good. You're moving fast. So for her, basically, yeah, I just went redirection vitality, threw on a stretch for that range, prime continuity duration, and of course this prime continuity is canceled a little bit by the power strength, but I did want to give her a little bit more damage, especially like with her ult and her arrows. Power strength's 165, range 145, efficiency is 130. Just have streamline on. I could put fleeting expertise on, but I honestly don't want to take a negative duration hit at this point. So I figured I'd leave just prime continuity and do transient fortitude there. Prime flow for that power, of course. So all in all, she's a pretty just straightforward, some damage, a little bit of range, the duration even with the loss, some efficiency, but not, the greatest efficiency it could be. Max health shields there, and then of course I gotta have that power on her. So I'm not trying to knock Ivara by any means. I still think she's a fun Warframe to play, but she's not a play style that I per se enjoy. So she's a little bit one of those frames that I'm like, I have her, I've maxed her up, I've given her a forma, yep, I've showed her some love, showed her some playtime. Probably not going to bust her out too often. It's unfortunately she's not like Hydroid, to where it's like, I don't play Hydroid that often, but I wish I did. I wish he had a couple things, buffed wise on him. Like I have him built as kind of like that healer too, with his healing puddle and everything, but yeah, she's just one of those ones I don't play as much, I feel, and even though she's a newer one, I really unfortunately don't see myself playing her as much. Even like me, as a person who's not a huge Trinity player, I've found myself playing Trinity kind of more than I think I'll play Ivara. So, but I will go ahead and jump into the build breakdown here, show you guys some actual footage here, and then give you guys that kind of overview. Alright, everybody, so here we are with the Ivara footage. Going to be showing you how she plays and everything. So as you can see on the side, so basically I can tap my one, kind of toggle through the arrows, and you see how that like bar there kind of, yeah, so basically that's how you fire it. That is, so let's see, we'll start from the beginning. Cloak arrow here. Oops. Oh, I'm controlling the arrow, I didn't mean to hit my 2 yet. So we'll do, basically, there you go, and you see that, so this is the cloak bubble, and you can see the duration on it as well, so it's going to last basically 8 more seconds here. Very great for reviving, things like that, you know. Dude there. And then so the dash wire arrow, basically it's going to be, oh, too far? There it goes. And then you just hit X to get on that. So this is really nice. And then let's see, I'll do noise arrow actually, yeah. And this is the 2. Show you how this works. So you can see they all just kind of go to that. Let me fire. Oops. Yeah, so you do have to do it every time, but you can see how you can control it. I'm slowing it down as best as I can here. And then, let's see, the sleep arrow. Need more energy. Oops. There we go. And then they just all fall asleep here. And I can just murder them in the sleep, like the sand people. Because I'm a terrible, terrible person. Alright. And then, so let's see. Okay, Prowl. Here we go. This is Prowl. Yeah, so see, you basically move in this ultra slow motion here. I'm actually toggle out of that real quick so I can grab some energy. Really need to give me some of those energy platform things, whatever they are. Energy restores. Alright. So yeah, you can see what I mean by the fact that her like one, it's fun to kind of toggle through those arrows, but you can see maybe in a fight, not necessarily the best thing. You kind of want to pick with one and stick with it. I usually tend to pick either the sleep arrow or the what is it actually called? Cloaking arrow? Cloak arrow, yeah, cloak arrow. Just because that's usually the ones I use the most in terms of the fact of their usefulness, and especially in a fight. The 2, as you can see, if you're in the middle of battle, might not be the easiest thing to kind of, you know, whip out and everything there. So that could be kind of an issue. So here, let me prowl around here a little bit. See if I can pickpocket some dudes. And see, this is the part I was talking about of just the slow movement. I'm not a big fan of. Wish you could run normally. So yeah, once you get close, you do that, and then you can stealth attack them, and that'll do that. And then I'll go ahead and show you guys the ult here in just a second. Let me get back up. Oh, I don't have enough energy now. I'll grab this energy orb here, and this should hopefully... Ah, come on. I need some enemies now. So here's the ult. There you go. So there's the arrows that fire. And basically you can see, like I said, so pull it straight, and it's going to be flatline like that. And then if you just... Oops, ran out of energy. But yeah, if you quick fire, it'll do the vertical line. Ooh, oh, kills with sliding. Okay, that's good to know. Yes, the Ten of Scum. One more. I need one more kill. My slider. There we go. So, yeah, and of course, normally you'll have a lot more energy. I probably should have picked something a little bit, maybe a little bit more group-oriented and done something that you could have actually seen. But you kind of get a feel for the ideas, or the idea of her abilities and kind of how she plays. So like I said, I mean, probably there's a bunch of people that'll be like, oh man, I really like Ivara, you know, I play like this, blah blah blah, and there's probably different builds, and I mean, I try to do what's good for like each Warframe, and usually I get a good sense after them. But with her, I mean, I feel like, you know, you build her all damage, which is probably one of the more common ones I feel like to do with her. That you'll at least do pretty decent damage, but then you want to make sure that she at least has. So I guess caster damage is probably like her niche really there that she should fill. But really, like I said, it's always personal opinion. I never really have, you know, a way like, oh, this is the best, because there is probably a numbers wise, and there's like always guaranteed to be at any game that, but that's not why I play games. I don't play games to do spreadsheet numbers. I play games to have fun and, you know, to try different things, because it's like, yeah, this may work, but guess what? This also works. It's like math sometimes, you know, you can find other ways to solve the same problem. So that's kind of what I feel like Warframe is for me in a sense. It's how can I solve this problem of this, like fighting this enemy at this level, while still, you know, having fun and making it challenging. Can I really? Oh, I can. Oh, cool. That's fun to know. I didn't realize I could do that from the Kubras as well. So, yeah, this has been kind of a look at the build breakdown. I'll just run a bunch of these just because I can. That's the fun thing is that you can actually summon a couple of those guys at the same time. And so, yeah. Thank you guys for viewing. I will be doing the Sun Wukong build breakdown in the future here shortly, and then the Inaros one after that. So, hope to see you guys soon, and thank you for viewing.